Hi there, my dear friends. Been meaning to make a video about the dangers of milk, and just been doing some studies and get some research done so that I can prepare this talk and I know what I'm talking about. But so far, it's pretty simple. What I've discovered that milk is actually liquid meat, and it's full of obviously protein. It has no fiber in it or vitamin C in it, and so it's literally like meat, and so it's like the same as eating meat. It's quite acid forming, so the body needs to be in an alkaline state in order to be healthy. Well, actually, it's a delicate balance between acid and alkaline, but it's mostly alkaline. And meat and dairy are very acid forming in the body. So when you actually consume those two group categories, you're creating lots of acid in the body. So in order to alkalize itself, the body has to buffer the acids by taking one of the most plentiful alkalizing minerals in the body, which is from the bones, which is calcium. So the bones will actually start to release calcium into the body, into the bloodstream, to try and alkalize all the acids that you've created through eating meat and dairy. And actually, you can imagine this thins the bones. So that myth about dairy being really good for the bones and makes strong bones and teeth is actually a complete lie. It's actually the opposite. And the proof of this I can give you is that if you look at the countries that consume the most milk, and for example USA, UK, some European countries, less so basically Asia and like Far East and places like that, and Africa, they're the ones that consume the least, and they have the least osteoporosis rates and the least hip fractures, bone fractures and things like that recorded. And it has something to do with the diet of the person. So the more milk you consume, the more brittle your bones become. So it's very interesting, in fact, to also see the Eskimos that have literally no vegetation or fruits growing in the environment, and their diet is mainly fish and basically meat-based diet, very high protein, and they have the highest osteoporosis and the lowest life expectancy in the world. It's very interesting because people think that fish is sort of quite healthy and stuff, but actually all that protein from animal flesh is extremely harmful, and it creates diseases, for example osteoporosis. And this is a fact. Look it up, Google it anywhere. The Eskimos, you know. Okay, what else about dairy is that actually most people in the world are lactose intolerant. So this includes Europeans as well, although we've become more accustomed to the dairy. However, you see lots of black people, for example, Asians, they're like, everyone knows they don't drink milk and they're quite intolerant to lactose, to dairy, you know. And this is actually not abnormal, but it's actually a normal thing. And why? is because that after the age of 2, when you're supposed to be on mother's milk, you stop having the ability to digest lactose. Lactose is actually a sugar protein found in milk. So at the age of 2, by the age of 2, we can still digest and break that down from your mother's milk, not cow's milk or sheep's or anything. This is mother's milk. And then once that milk feeding is stopped, the weaning, then you're not able to actually break down the lactose anymore. So then this causes a lot of mucus in the body and lots of sickness and things like that. It just it congests the body very much. So, and that mucus is again from how the body is trying to alkalize itself, to try and get rid of the acids, to protect itself, because they're acids, they're burning the body, they burn the cells. So the body's natural instinct is to actually survive. So it's going to actually create, it has a mechanism in place to alkalize itself in such instances. So if you're bombarding the body constantly with acids, there will be a time that there's so much of it that's built up that it can no longer even keep up, and keep itself healthy. So, it's very acid forming. So that's mainly the point of milk, and that actually we're naturally consuming another species milk from a cow that's designed for a baby calf, for a calf, baby cow. We're not cows, so I don't understand why we have this desire to consume the milk. The desire to consume milk is actually deep in our culture, because even myself, as far as I remember as a child, I've always had my mother, she was preparing milk for me, and always been told that milk is good for you, that milk is good for children, that milk is good for your bones, that milk makes you strong and healthy. And this is the kind of propaganda that is fed to the whole of the world by dairy companies. It's really unfair, because so many people are suffering and they're leading life with all kinds of issues to do with their bones and things, for example, osteoporosis and arthritis and those kinds of diseases, that all comes from milk. And it's the opposite. We're told the opposite, that it's good for you, that you will avoid these diseases. But look in the Western world, everyone in the kind of who consumes that kind of diet is getting those kind of diseases. So there's got to be something incorrect there, And one more point about this is that milk is the biggest contributor to environmental pollution. Basically, to create all that, to supply the demand in the world for the kind of dairy products that we require, like milk, yogurt, kefir, milkshakes, all kinds of milk derived products and creams and things like that. You need to have huge pastures for these cows and so many farms. So to create farms and to create pastures, forests need to be cleared. So actually in Amazon there is now pastures being created, and Amazon forest is being cut down to create these pastures, and also the feed for these pastures. And the biggest thing about it is that it's the methane. When the cows, they're farting all the time, actually you'd be amazed to find out that this methane, this farts, this gas that comes from the cows, is the biggest contributor to pollution in the world. And check this out, combine all the cars, airplanes, trains in the world, all of them put together, is less than what this farting from the cows, basically the farting from the cows is more harmful and is more accumulation than all the cars, all the trains, and all the airplanes put together. Can you imagine that? So this contributes to the pollution in the air and the global warming and things like that from the methane from the cows. So just because you want to have your cheese or you have your milkshakes, Amazon's forest is being cut down and there is so much pollution in the air, more than all the cars, trains and airplanes put together, is coming from these dairy cows. It's absolutely incredible. And this is the three main points. So the first point is that milk is very acid forming, so all the diseases like osteoporosis are actually caused by too much milk, too much acids that are created by a dairy-based diet, by dairy that's consumed in your diet. And in order to alkalize itself, the body has to pull calcium from from the bones. Calcium is very alkalizing, and it's the most plentiful in the body because there is a skeleton, so in each of the bones there is plenty of calcium. So that's how the body tries to heal itself. It tries to take out all this calcium and just fight back, to the acids that you've introduced into the body through your dairy eating and through your meat eating. And therefore the bones, they start getting thinner and thinner and more fragile. The second point is the enzymes, or the enzyme that is responsible for digesting lactose. This is no longer present in the human body after weaning, after you have stopped feeding on your brother's or on your mother's breast milk, which is at the age of 2 to 3 years old. So after that, the body can't break it down, it can't recognize it. In fact, it can't even, basically it can't recognize breast milk, yeah, but it never even been able to recognize cow milk. So after the age of 2, it can't recognize mother's breast milk anymore. It can't break down that lactose. So you basically need to stop sucking mother's milk, after the age of 2. And then not start to suck the milk of another species that was actually intended for another species newborn. like a baby goat or a baby cow. Yeah. And the third point is about environmental issues, that the methane produced by herd cows is the most of all the gases and all the pollutions compared to all the airplanes, all the cars, all the lorries, all the trains put together. So it's, when you're having your cheese and when you're having your milk, think about all the pollution that's actually being created through this. You think you're just having some milk which is supposed to be good for you. Actually, you're contributing to the pollution of this planet, of the cutting down of forests, and of the stench coming from on this farming that's done to on an industrial scale. So think about it when next time you're actually consuming cheese, milk or cream, that it's not as the government and big corporate companies have labeled it as very, very healthy. It's completely the opposite. It's killing the planet and it's damaging the body, and it's not intended for a human being. It's intended for a baby cow. It's quite a different idea to what we have been taught so far. I understand it's very difficult to unlearn this, because from day one our mums have taught us that milk is good for us, that milk is something that's gonna make your bones strong and you should drink it. So it's completely the opposite. Anyway, so I hope I'm gonna leave you with this thought, and try to cut down on your dairy. If you don't believe me, do your own research. You will see the Eskimo population that's has got a low lifespan and the biggest rate of osteoporosis in the world because of their high protein diet. And you will see that so many populations, some of the healthiest populations like Japan, Asia, African countries, they have the least milk consumption in the world, and yet they're the healthiest people in the world, where diseases such as osteoporosis and cancer have been absolutely unheard of. This is a Western diet diseases. These kind of conditions, imbalances, are not heard of in those countries. And it's due to their diet, because they eat a lot of vegetables, fresh organic vegetables and fruits and things like that, which a lot of it is uncooked and full of nutrition, things like that. So the best diet is an alkaline diet, a mucusless diet, which is basically fruits, vegetables and herbs. Let me know what you think, if you agree or disagree with my words. I'd be really delighted to hear some of your comments, and have a fantastic day. Take care and bye-bye for now.